The 2023 flooding was the most expensive natural disaster in Auckland's history. It was not a black swan. NIWA and Auckland Council had been modelling events of this severity for years. What the event revealed was not just infrastructure failure, it revealed that Auckland had chosen not to act on the projections. The stormwater system was not upgraded because the upgrade was expensive, and the projected event was not imminent enough to force political attention. The event made the cost visible. The question now is whether that visibility is sustained long enough to drive the capital program. When insurers withdraw from a market, they are not being politically or ethically irresponsible. They are pricing risk that public policy has not yet acknowledged. Insurance withdrawal in Auckland's flood zones is the leading indicator of which properties will eventually need managed retreat. Public policy that waits until after insurance withdrawal will face a more politically difficult situation. Owners whose properties have already lost value demanding full replacement compensation. Acting before insurance withdrawal is cheaper and more just. The primary reason New Zealand has not implemented managed retreat at scale is Crown liability. If the government maps a property as high risk, it may be obligated to compensate the owner at full value. This creates an incentive to delay mapping, which delays disclosure, which allows continued development in high-risk areas, which increases the ultimate cost. The liability trap is a legal design problem, not a physical one. It requires legislation that defines Crown disclosure obligations and compensation limits. High flood risk in Auckland is concentrated in areas where Maori and Pacific families live in older, lower-value housing. These households have lower insurance coverage, fewer financial resources to adapt, and less political leverage to demand protection investment. Climate adaptation without explicit equity provisions will relocate the risk rather than address it. Managed retreat programs that offer full market value compensation in low-value areas may also offer lower absolute payments than in high-value areas, reproducing the inequality of the exposure itself. Climate policy has a distributional structure that is rarely acknowledged in emissions accounting. Carbon pricing raises the cost of petrol. Low-income households spend a higher share of income on transport, so they pay a higher share of the carbon cost. EV subsidies that require upfront capital favour those who can borrow or have savings. The transition to a decarbonised economy produces real gains for society and real losses for specific workers and communities. Whether those losses are compensated is a choice, not a consequence. Auckland's emissions profile is dominated by transport, 49.2% of the city's gross emissions in the 2021 inventory, overwhelmingly from road travel and private vehicles. As New Zealand's largest city, Auckland is a major contributor to national transport emissions, even though no authoritative source publishes its exact share. It also means that Auckland's transit investment decisions are not just quality-of-life choices, they are climate policy. The argument for light rail and rapid transit investment is as strong from a climate perspective as from a congestion or productivity perspective. The three rationales reinforce each other. Tree cover and shade are not evenly distributed across Auckland. The wealthy suburbs of Remuera and Devonport are substantially cooler in summer than Aotearoa and Manger, partly because their streets are lined with mature trees that poorer suburbs lack. This is not accidental. Tree planting tracks investment, and investment tracks political voice. The canopy deficit in South and West Auckland is an environmental justice issue as well as a climate adaptation issue. Auckland's most expensive weather event on record was a warning. It demonstrated that stormwater infrastructure designed for historical rainfall patterns cannot handle the intensified precipitation that climate projections have been signalling for decades. A single day at or beyond 1 in 200-year rainfall intensity produced approximately $1.98 billion in insured losses. The next event will be more expensive unless stormwater infrastructure is upgraded to the future design standard, not the historical one.